what's up, y'all? Welcome to a special episode of The Next Block. Happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays to everyone out there. How you doing, Crypto for Change?
Yeah, doing good. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Hope you guys are enjoying some football, enjoying some good food, and about to enjoy this episode of The Next Block because we have a lot to talk about. There's been a lot going on in the crypto world, right?
Mm. Hey, so much. I'm like, OMG. Let's dive into it. Let's start off with let's talk about some price actions first,
Yeah.
look at some of these cryptos, and then we're going to go into all the juicy stuff, y'all.
Yeah,
All
and
right, so
price
let me,
action. I'm actually surprised that we've kind of seen a little bit, not as drastic, dips out there. Bitcoin's kind of held. I think
mhm.
it's still above 36,000. I think it went down to like 35.
Mhm.
ETH fell below 2,000 for a little bit, but now it's already back above. Binance obviously taking a little bit bigger hit, or BNB, just due to all the FUD and news kind of that's come out. And obviously you got, our golden child Algorand, who's, barely
Let's
clinging.
scroll down.
Yeah, right. You scroll down and you're going to see, sadly, I think FTT token is right in front of it,
Yeah,
or maybe it's fell
yeah, it
out. Did
was.
FTT
Yeah.
fall out, or is it?
Oh,
It's
no, it's
probably
higher.
higher. Oh my gosh, it's pumping.
Oh,
It's up like 27. So in all the calamity, obviously this makes total sense. FTX token still pumping, but
so
regardless, Algorand is kind of falling back down. And yeah, we have some turmoil around Thanksgiving, which I was talking to Tony from Thinking Crypto earlier today, and I was just reminiscing. I was like, man, I just hope we do not see what we saw happen, Thanksgiving, November 2021, which was the crypto markets tanked and were atrocious. I think they were also really bad in November of 2020, or sometime around there. But yeah, really hoping we don't see a bigger cascade of these prices. I
yeah.
hope the bullishness and the bullish sentiment is enough to hold and we keep moving at least sideways and up. But yeah, it definitely was a big shock with some of these prices. What are your thoughts right now?
Well, like what you said, last year, Algorand, at Decipher, basically the FIFA announcement, right? It hit
Mm-hmm.
up to the 40 cent. That was the highest it's been, since then. But after a long decline from that spike of $2.80, honestly, it's looking for me bullish still, even though we'll talk about the other big news. But even though these prices aren't doing the best, just to see all these new tokens like Render, and SCI, there's a whole bunch of Celestia. They're all reaching the top 100. It's unfortunate that to see Algorand move down, but I still see it's stronger than it's been in over a year. So I'm happy about it. Let me go pull up to 7-day chart. Let's see what was the best runner though.
Oh, I would imagine it's got to be Solana, Render, some of the FTT. That's the crazy
Blur
one.
and FTT
Yeah,
and KuCoin.
Render's down there, right? 40,
Oh, yep, yep.
it's been doing really good. Obviously, on the heels of
Caspa,
Solana,
that's another big
Caspa
one.
is another one. Yeah, that's one I've been watching. Definitely watching to see if it takes
Hmm.
a bigger cool off. I might dabble and I was actually looking at their wallets today to see, maybe start to open up a position, but still watching some of these because we know there's going to be some outliers that are going to make some big runs in the next bull market that no one's heard of. Obviously,
Hmm.
they're going to be the ones, the staples that maybe hope the Algorands, the Cardanos, the Solanas that have already made big runs in the past that are possibly going to hit new all-time highs and continue to run again. But you got to keep your eyes on these newer things that are coming into the picture, just so you don't miss out on those gains. And obviously, you want to, if you got lucky on FTT and you were risky enough to buy that thing, then hey, I would be highly
Listen,
considering taking profits unless you're really banking on this
look at this.
somehow the FTX getting restarted under new management and them maybe using or doing some type of program where they're going to redeem an FTT token for this new token. I doubt that would happen. It's all speculation, but yeah, you got to have a lot of belief
Gus.
to be buying this token right now. Now, obviously, if you were
Yeah.
buying it before when it was sub $1, like I say, you took a risk and it's paid off big time. For you there because it definitely shot up quick once Gary
Hear that.
Gensler was making those tweets.
Gary needs to get investigated, right?
Yeah,
So it was at $1.18, and boom, look at that. That
yeah,
jumped 300% in a month. But I like this right here. The FTX bankruptcy proceedings are underway. FTT token no longer has any use and may be liquidated by the state's main creditors. So
yeah, and
y'all,
yet people are
this
still
is why
speculating.
it's this is why it's pumping.
Yeah.
They want to get their money back for the investors. That's my thesis.
And with that said, let's jump into the first hot topic, because I have, I feel like a lot of people have been speculating that this entire pump was manufactured by Binance and by CZ and pumping Bitcoin. I mean, early on when XRP and all that news and Bitcoin and Ethereum, and he was the one out there kind of leading it, that maybe he was pumping it. Maybe he was pumping it because he knew he was going to be signing a deal and he needed some extra money to pay off the DOJ with their largest payoff for something like this. So that is huge. And obviously Binance is paying 4.3 billion. I think CZ himself is paying like 50 million in in money damages, to pay off these fines. Yeah. And all of that, my background came from banking, right? And so all of that comes from them breaking the Bank Secrecy Act, and dealing with and having Americans, commingling of funds, and Americans being able to deal and do business, especially with the OFAC, with countries and areas that they shouldn't be able to, right? And so that's the reason why Binance is getting hit, and the U.S. Department of Justice is on them, because when CZ even tweeted about it. He says in the article that he knew, right, that he was not doing KYC. He didn't want to push away people to use the platform, so he knew that. And he even says in it that he was going to ask for forgiveness instead of asking permission. So that's one of the things. Man. I mean, hey, and look what he built, right? He built the largest exchange out there. Obviously, it towers over every other one. Coinbase now obviously looks to be maybe able to take some market share off the heels of all this. But what are your initial thoughts on this Binance and CZ news?
So my initial thought, I was watching Janet Yellen and all the rest of them speak on stage, and I'm like, okay, what I see is this. It jumps me to BlackRock and Larry Fink, right? They're the biggest asset manager. They get essentially any ETF they want approved, it gets approved except for one, right? And y'all leave a comment and guess which one it is. It's the Bitcoin ETF, right? So the Bitcoin ETF, like Michael Saylor saying, the big dogs are coming. So what they're trying to do right now, my initial thought is they're putting the United States in position to be the biggest holder of Bitcoin, and they don't want Binance to be the biggest holder of Bitcoin. They don't want CZ to run up on the top 5 with $100 billion in net worth once Bitcoin runs up. They want some Americans. So I'm not mad at that. So what I see is that they had to get rid of him and then lower the power of Binance, so that way, like you said, Coinbase or another government exchange can control crypto, which means we're going to see the Bitcoin ETF get approved in the next 6 to 9 months. That's what I see.
For sure.
And that's potential the moon for the rest of us.
Yeah, and the thing about that is as well, like Coinbase is, is going to be the custody holder of BlackRock, right? So they're going to be, working hand in hand with Wall Street and with the suits that are, going to be pushing into this market and taking over. And so, yeah, they had to get rid of some of these players. And I'll say, I think it's bullish as well because one, Richard Ting, he's a regulator in Abu Dhabi, so he has that, he has the experience, he has probably the connections, right, to still help Binance be successful. But I think CZ did this because he didn't want what happened to FTX and Terra Luna and all those things to happen to Binance, right? He built Binance. That's his, thing. And he saw, hey, if I talk to these people, get a plea deal, right? Get a deal worked out, and it is a deal, a good deal for him, right? He's not. I doubt he gets jail time. No jail. And he gets a slap on the wrist, 50 million fine, nothing. Binance can pay the 4 billion. That's nothing. And here's the kicker: 3 years is how long he has to stay away from Binance. That's it. 3 years, and they have to have a monitor, right? Someone in place to monitor Binance's activity, make sure they're doing things right, and then after that, he can do whatever he wants. Now, he said in his personal tweet that he's going to, still be in the space and looking around at DeFi and stuff like that. But it definitely, and he definitely says he doesn't want to create a brand new startup or anything like that. But I would not be surprised if after the 3 years he doesn't come back and pick right up where he left off, because, like I said, it's not the same thing as SBF and what FTX was doing. Yes, there were things that I would say CZ probably knew and was doing that was shady, and that's why you're also not seeing the BNB token, cross, knock on wood, cross your fingers, everything, plummet to zero and drag the entire market down like FTX and Terra Luna did.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. CZ was one of the big contributors to taking down Sam Bankman-Fried.
Exactly.
Remember that bank run he did, and all his deals exposing. And one thing CZ has shown that he's a chess player and not a checkers player.
Hmm.
So he built a big exchange. Everyone's saying he gonna be on the beach in Miami,
Right, he
right?
is.
Yeah, he gonna be on the beach, and I think that's really positive for him as a person. He done helped us out. He's kind of as they say online, a sacrificial lamb right now for all of crypto. Because once you, like you said, he does come back in 3 years, or he's just around, it doesn't mean he's not controlling Binance. He's just not the face no more, and he's not the CEO on paper. That's what I see. So big shout out to CZ, Richard Tang. I think he'll do a great job. His background does seem amazing, and for him to be like a CEO out in Dubai and have all that experience, I think Binance will be just as smooth as it always been. This will be a second bank run that they're going to survive as well.
Yeah, I definitely think there is a lot of, you might hear my son in the background. He's kind of waking up
Oh
from
yeah,
his nap a little
shout out
early,
shout
but
out to him.
right. But there's definitely going to be some, volatility. Hold on one second.
It's all good. I'll run through some volatility. Is that what you said? Yes, definitely some volatility as we wait to see what they do with all of crypto right now. Kraken. Let's talk a little bit about Kraken. Let me pull
Yeah,
that up.
that was actually one that I've only used that exchange once,
Me too.
but that is another one that's and they already paid a fine, right? They already settled with
Hmm.
the with and went through this kind of once, but they are again getting hit with you know. Operating unregistered, securities, that
Yep.
Gary Gensler, has been vague on to say the least. Algorand mentioned in there again, which among others, right, among other
Yep.
popular tokens, and so if you have money on these exchanges, get them off, right? That is
Yeah.
always what I would say. Like, the
Yeah.
only one I really hold any money on is still Coinbase. I feel confident, I feel safe because they have been working, they're working with BlackRock. I feel like they will become a behemoth in the space, right? I don't fear, like I do with a lot of these other,
Yep.
exchanges that are, not in a regulatory, not underneath regulatory clarity. But, Coinbase is still fighting, their own battles as well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, definitely not really surprised to see this, but it is interesting that they're getting hit again, and we'll see if they last. Right? I mean, we saw what happened to Bittrex. Right? That was one that got hit, and where
Yep.
Algorand was named, and they paid a fine, and they moved offshore. Right? They were like, all right, we're just going to move out of the U.S. And now look what's happening. As of, I think December 4th, they're closing down.
Yep.
Which that's it's
Well, what it tells me, for anyone who's listening, just don't go against the U.S. Unfortunately,
right.
the U.S. wants their money, and they have an army of SEC, defenders and lawyers and whatnot. So at this point, Brian Armstrong, stay 10 toes down, keep working with the government, because he could be in position to be the one exchange above them all, like on some Lord of the Rings stuff.
And to an extent, it's coming, right? Coinbase is going to be a behemoth. Right now they might not be as big
Stock
as
is going
Binance,
up.
but it's definitely going to contend. And
Mhm.
it's interesting. I saw this parallel. A lot of people I saw tweeting about how the CEO of Bittrex, right,
Mhm.
stepped down right at the start of the bull run in 2020, 2021, right? And so a lot of people are
Mhm.
saying like, oh, like, is CZ stepping down? That's why I think a lot of people are saying, oh, he's our savior. He's sacrificing himself so
Yes.
that the market can pump. Like I say, CZ is not perfectly clean. He's not this like savior to crypto, right? He's out here
No,
making money the way we would love to
we
be
all
making money.
trying
Yeah, exactly.
to.
But it'll be interesting to see if what happens to Binance long term, right? If this
Yep.
new leader can continue to make it be the number one successful exchange out there. I would be very surprised if within 5 years Coinbase has not gobbled up tons and tons of market share that Binance might eventually start to lose, especially with Coinbase starting to get the
Mhm.
derivatives and a lot of other features that Binance has that Coinbase didn't have. And once, like I say, once regulatory clarity gets put through and then they know what they have to do to get the things approved to start to really compete with Binance, that's where then it just becomes user interface, UI. How easy is it to
Yep.
on ramp money? And let me tell you this: with BlackRock and Fidelity and all these people out here creating the on ramps, like, and funding them, like, it's a no brainer that Coinbase is going to win in the end. I was even talking to Tony this morning, like it's probably a good time. Like I think Coinbase stock's like around $100. It's probably a good time, not
Yeah.
financial advice, but it might be a solid time to start buying and DCAing into that stock, because I think it's going to perform like Facebook did in its early years, where, it launched, it came down a lot, and then from then on it was up and to the right. For a long time, it had that dominance. There's just nobody else. Like, what do you got in the U.S.? Crypto.com, Kraken.
They're about to get shut down.
Exactly. Crypto.com is probably next. Kraken, I doubt they survive this, even though the CEO tweeted out, or I think that the Twitter handle tweeted out, business as usual. It's like
Coinbase got the branding too.
Exactly. And they not only the branding, but they have the, like, I feel like the trust that Brian Armstrong and the team, like, that is a leader. Like, I don't even know who the CEO of Crypto.com. I don't know the CEO of Kraken, but I know the CEO of Coinbase. Like, I see him.
Hey, and he got a giant mansion as well. I was impressed with. Let's run an
bald.
ad break.
We know what happens with bald people. Like, they can run good companies. Look at Jeff Bezos, right?
Let's take a break real quick and let our audience breathe for a second with these.
Yeah, we'll come back with some Algorand.
Commercials.
Yeah, we'll come back with some Algorand content.
Let's hit it. Hey, welcome back, y'all. Welcome back. So let's dive in to some Algorand news and hype. What you got?
Let's talk about the the branding. I think the funniest one we got to talk about is the branding now that CoinDesk is going to be is a partner with Algorand at the summit, because CoinDesk, if you're in the Algorand community, you're very familiar with this one. And CoinDesk has literally put out so many articles over the past 2 years naming things that are being done in the crypto and blockchain space on Algorand, but purposefully, I would say, or maybe because they didn't get paid, leaving the hashtag Algorand, or the name that it's actually working on, hashtag, out of the post, even though it may be in the article. And I will say CoinDesk is under new management, so maybe this is part of the marketing strategy to work with this newer, CEO or owner of it, and to actually have a focus there and a impact there. And I think this is a good step. Obviously, I hope that this is not just a one-off thing. I know that a couple days ago, Algorand was advertising on CoinDesk, the TPS and a bunch of other stuff, which was kind of funny in light of some of the Solana articles. But you have to, this is, even though a lot of people may have maybe blocked CoinDesk, right? If you're in the Algorand faithful, you don't like them, you don't like their reporting, they still have a broad reach. And so I'm hoping that this movement forward does really good as far as getting, the information of what Algorand's doing out there to the masses. Because we've already, I made a post a couple weeks ago showing that like Coinbase hasn't updated stuff in like months. Like it's been like 8-10 months since they put out any article on Algorand. And so to some extent, that is what's criminally lacking for Algorand's movement to the top. Is there's just not really a lot of marketing hype when things get done. Like Solana, Fire Dancer, I know John Allen Woods joked about it. Firemancer, he could, we can joke about those things, but hey, people know about it. People know what it's called. They know Solana's got an upgrade. Cardano's, they know it has its upgrade, but do people really know what's happening on Algorand? And so that is the thing that needs to change. And as funny as it is that it's CoinDesk, I really hope that we see a continued effort for them putting out positive articles that reflect Algorand.
Hey, I get it. Coinbase is like, hey, where is my money? Run me my bag.
Yeah, and obviously their bags in ETH, they're literally building on ETH with Base. So they're not.
I'll say, Algorand, send them some Go ETH. Right.
I don't know. I doubt there's that much Go ETH on Algorand enough to entice them, but definitely think that I'm waiting for the day that we get USDC algo up on Coinbase and stuff like that. They've got so many networks. Obviously, Algorand not one of them, but I think that would be a positive move. It's funny, even Brian Armstrong tweeting out today the sale of his merch, the beanies or whatever it is. I don't know if it's an NFT or a real hat.
I've seen it.
But he's talking about, until we get, sub 1 penny, 1 second, finality and transactions, we're working towards that. And it's like, you have that on Algorand. Like, it's like, there's no way you're that blind. You're literally just, maybe you don't want to work with this team. And that's honestly, I feel like when people make the comment the tech doesn't always win, right? I think that's more or less what they're talking about, is like, if the big money, which we know is Coinbase, we know is BlackRock, we know is all of these institutions, if they don't want to work with Algorand and with the tech, that's why Algorand could lose, is unless the decentralized, right? The community were to grow so big that they can't be ignored. But it's like, who are these big players really going to work with? And it, ultimately comes down to that. I still think Ethereum is useless at times. I mean, literally I saw some guy to get $30 in USDC, or no, to get $20 in USDC, he was going to have to pay 30. It's like, that's like, what, why are we still propping up old legacy tech when there's better stuff, even outside of Algorand, right? You got Caspa, you got so many new layer ones that are popping up that can do more and better than Ethereum. So I don't know. It's interesting.
I would say, it's got to be some type of, let me put my tinfoil on. It's got to be some type of conspiracy, or like maybe they just want to own it.
Yeah.
Maybe they need to take more control, because ETH is essentially controlled by these people. So like, if we see like, Coinbase node pop up, right? Y'all go check if y'all see anything like that. But any Coinbase nodes, if we see any of these type of things, I would say that could be a sign that they're coming for Algorand, which is, essentially what we want. My original thesis a few years ago when I got into Algorand was like, comparing them to ETH and all these other blockchains, I saw that the government would want this one.
Yeah.
Right. I saw that foreign governments, speaking of that, the Dutch central bank, I'll pull it up as well, I think that's related to this conversation, they have even chosen Algorand.
Yeah.
And then John spoke about that on our show.
Yep.
Why? Because, regulators are looking for the best technology and not the hype. They want something that works, and they found this one.
Yeah. And obviously we're actually talking to Quantos, and we're going to have them on the channel hopefully here in the next month or so to talk about why they chose Algorand, what they're looking to build with this programmable euro on Algorand. And to answer your question, I would say it's, the reason why all these, big players are using ETH over the newer and faster and cheaper L1s is because they can't, like, how much money are they going to lose right now if they transition to these cheaper networks? Right now, they're taking advantage of everyone who wants to speculate in DeFi and speculate on crypto and whatever they're doing in all this stuff, because ETH's gas fees, all of these fees.
We moved $100 and it cost us 12%.
Yeah.
So Like that's a high fee for,
Exactly.
making a trade on Uniswap.
Yeah, and that's the reason why they're not going to leave Ethereum, because why would you leave it if it's not milked all the way out yet? And so they're going to milk that cow as long as they can. But I do think eventually, right, just as Silvio said, even speculation will end. And I don't mean speculation across the board,
Mhm.
but I think true, quantos, true businesses, right, are going to have to work on blockchains that are fast, scalable,
Yes.
secure, decentralized. We're just not there yet. We're still in a very
Yeah.
highly speculative
Yeah.
world.
And I would add, audience as well. Leave a comment below if Ethereum is essentially one of your biggest bags, right? Because I think that's important. As the people who are buying this, even me, I hold probably more of Ethereum than anything, and it's because of these reasons we talked about. The big dogs still want it; they have it. The validators are making so much money, which keeps pumping the price up. So the thing that I see with these layer ones, twos, threes, fours, and fives is that eventually Ethereum, maybe even like on Algorand, just will turn into wrapped Ethereum. And that's the way you make Ethereum smooth. You just wrap it, and then Ethereum essentially spreads throughout of all of blockchain and crypto, and then it's more usable.
Yeah.
I could see that happening, and it would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and,
But
it
about
kind of goes back to
what?
even Stacy's comment. I feel like at one of the
Mhm.
conferences may have been Consensus. I can't remember exactly which one, but she kind of made the point, and it might not be Algorand, might be another chain, but you can have your ETH, you can have your Bitcoin, but it's going to settle on Algorand, right? She made that
Yes.
comment, and it might settle on Cosmos, it might settle on Hedera, it might settle on
Yep.
something else, but you might still be able to use those assets, just not on the chains as
Yes.
much. But even then, it begs the question, why even interact with those if there is better scalable tech? But like I said, we're just so early in
Yeah.
crypto and in blockchain adoption. I think and like I say, this is bullish. Quantos Payments announcing the launch, right? And they did their own research, right? This wasn't
Yep.
something that the Algorand Foundation or Algorand Technologies went out and found. This is them. So I'm really excited to have them on our show to ask them the specific questions of, why
Yep.
did you choose Algorand, and what exactly could you see this programmable euro being used for? Because at the end of the day, those are going to be the questions of why other businesses choose Algorand over the likes of Solana, Ethereum, you name it. I mean, why would you not
Well,
build this on Solana, right? If it's
Well, listen, I just tried. I was about to do some Hedera. I've been, going back and forth. I
Mhm.
went over there and tried to get some Hedera and, put in a saucer swap, and I kept having failed transactions.
Mm,
Then I was like, after a while, I was like, what is going on? I made sure I had enough gas
yeah,
fees, all of the things that, I'm experienced. And then what did I do? I took that money out and I
yeah,
moved it somewhere else that was smoother and better, like an Algorand and a Cosmos. That's what
yeah.
I did.
And
And
even to go back on what John Woods and Gary Maloof said from our last interview, it's like, a lot of these blockchains, they claim fast, they claim instant finality, but you go look at the API docs, they're,
yeah,
5
they're not.
minutes, 5
There's the
days.
same thing.
Exactly. Especially when
I
you
was
look at
embarrassed.
smart contract execution. A lot of things can do, Solana touts a very high TPS when looking at all their
Yeah.
messages between nodes and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, what about smart contracts? What about AMM swaps, the real meat? And most people won't even know, like, unless you're in crypto and you know the jargon, you're not really even paying attention to a lot of this. But
Mm.
like, this is the stuff I would say that truly matters.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agreed. Again, TravelX is another fly bondy, fly bony, right? Another great
I'm
example
sorry.
of
I gotta point that out. I gotta point that out to the. If you didn't see it, go back in the comments in the video. Watch it. My wife tries crawling behind me to get past the camera, and she looks up and stares at the camera. I'm sorry. I'm putting her on blast right there. That was too funny. I
did I
can't
just
not
miss it?
laugh. I think you did, but I saw it
What was
because
I
I was
looking
yeah. I was like watching her. Like, you're literally looking at the camera. So everybody in the comment, go roast my wife in the comments. Like,
at?
that was too funny.
Silly.
There's some
Lost my
more
thought.
Algorand news though, right?
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
we can go to the next thing. What was the next bit of Algorand news we can jump on?
Uh, well, definitely, Algo Impact Summit is happening.
Yep, that's another
Stacy
big
was
thing.
speaking there. She's going to be highlighting. I can't find anything, but
And
she's going to be highlighting some of the bigger projects like Agro Token, right?
yeah,
Yeah, which is let me go to it real quick. Sorry, I'm being a little
And she
slow.
was also on the Scott Meltner Wolf of Wall Street's podcast, responding to inverse investments or inverse answers. I can't
Yep.
remember what his Twitter was, but he called out and said Algorand was a dead chain, is just built for CBDCs. And so she gave a lot of things out about that, saying what it is, and that we're not a dead chain. We got tons of projects that are building real
Yeah.
utility being put on the chain, and when it comes down to it, it's Algorand is fit for purpose. It's ready for things to be built on it. Yeah, it may not have the money flowing in the network activity like Ethereum or Solana right now, but it is ready for a lot of this stuff. And she made the point that it's not a security, it's a utility token. And I think that
Facts.
has remained true throughout this bear market, that people like algo is for utility, is pay the gas fees of the network and transactions, just like ETH token is. And the SEC and the DOJ, I don't think they have
Yep.
anything when it comes down to it, because at the end of the day, the Algorand Foundation does not do algos in the US, and they are a company that is put in Singapore, right? It's not based in the US, so they don't have any, in my opinion, jurisdiction. Now, hopefully that stands, and we don't see,
Yeah.
She mentioned it as, it's kind of like a drive-by, right? You go to get Bittrex and you just fire some bullets and hit Algorand, hit ADA. Let's
She
hope that
did
we
play.
don't see a more direct attack from the DOJ to Algorand, because if that were to happen, then I literally I'd probably drop all my algo at that point, at just because I fear the FUD that would come. But that's something we don't want to see happen.
No, we do not want that. And that is, like you said, a good thing is that if you look at it in a proper perspective, it's a gas fee token. I seen it this day.
Right. She tried to get, she wasn't going to crawl that time.
Yes, that's funny. But I see, Algorand for me is still a gas token, a network token. And, looking at the euro, all these things, I just feel like the US doesn't really truly have a problem with Algorand. It's one of those things like we're not even looking at y'all because we're worried about Bitcoin.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It was like it literally
exchanges.
was like a drive-by, like just, list some tokens that look like they could be securities to really put our foot, to really show that we're not messing around. But, it's not like they're really going in depth saying why each of these tokens. Although I will say, I think they did say a lot about Cardano, but even at the end of the day, I mean, a lot of people tout that Cardano is more decentralized as far as like its initial, supply being sent out than most other cryptos. So it'll be very interesting to see how a lot of this, lawsuits with Kraken, Bittrex, all this stuff ends up playing out. And like you said at the beginning of the show, the DOJ really came guns ready to say, hey, DeFi, hey, if you're working with US citizens and everything, we are coming for you. And that, when I was talking to Tony from Thinking Crypto earlier, like that was what I'm most afraid of. Like I think overall, even if in the short term, right, we see some bearish price action, I think long term over the next 6 to 8 months, it's going to be bullish for, with the spot Bitcoin ETF and with a lot of other things. But I do worry about a lot of the projects that are currently in DeFi on various chains, and maybe in their terms and conditions they say, hey, no US citizens, but they're not really blocking US citizens from interacting with their platform. Like they're still allowing that stuff to happen. And so that does worry me to an extent.
Yeah, and like I said, I mentioned offline too, but some of the experience with like the Cosmos ecosystem is half those apps, I can't use them in the US.
Yeah.
So for me, I see that as positive that they're like, nope, y'all can't use it. You can't get this airdrop.
But I think look at Algorand. You got Folks Finance, you got Messina. There's so many platforms out here that, are allowed. I mean, I would assume.
Well, Folks Swap, I tried to do the Ultra Swap. We're not allowed to use Ultra Swap.
Okay.
So
it's very interesting, right? I think it's still a very gray area, and that's where, that's like I said, that's my fear is how swift and how hard is the DOJ and the government going to come down on a lot of DeFi, because we saw what happened to AlgoFi, right? They were like, nope, we're in New Jersey or
question
wherever,
for you.
they're out.
When is government.defi coming?
Right. I mean, I also mentioned, right. I also mentioned this, that I feel like, with the spot Bitcoin ETF getting approved, right, with Coinbase and with the likes of the giant, US conglomerates, they're going to bring in everybody who's not currently in crypto, right? They're going to bring that money in to, it'll start off small allocations, but more people will get used to crypto through a centralized way, through Coinbase. They'll act as a bank account, right? People will be able to hold Bitcoin in their actual bank account, right? In your credit union, your bank. You may even be able to send it and pay for it. But I get, give it 5-10 years. That's when you're going to see the shift start to happen where people are like, but if, say I'm depositing my Bitcoin in, USAA or in, Fifth Third Bank or whatever your bank is close to you, and they're paying you 2%, right, on your Bitcoin deposits. But then you see on DeFi, that's still going to be out there and still going to be
Yep.
growing, that you could be depositing your Bitcoin and earning 6%, or attaching it to in a pool with Bitcoin USDC and earning 20% or something like that. That's when I think you're going to see the big shift come and the real attack that the powers that be are going to have to fight, because at that point people are going to start to really want to self-custody their assets once they get more used to how to navigate the whole entire crypto space. But right now it's just hard.
Yeah, I think with that point, I think it's always going to be a twofold world. You got the better, like a better term, the 9-to-5ers, right?
Yeah.
9-to-5ers don't feel comfortable holding anything but some money in their bank account.
Yeah.
Let the experts hold everything else. Then you got, the traders, people that trade options, who do their own brokerage account investing. That's the crypto people, is the same type of people. So I feel like it will be, a small sect of society, maybe 20% or so, that's like, we're going to hold our own stuff. And that doesn't put fear in the government when you got 80% who give them the 401k Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So, and then you do the Lightning Network where they can move it seamlessly. So Bitcoin appears to be faster, but it's all in the government vaults. And I'm not, again, I'm not opposed to that. I want the government should just let us crypto is how we want. And that's what I truly want. And I know they want to control it.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, that's where I feel like you're going to see this major wealth gap in the future, is the people who did self-custody and did learn this stuff ahead of time and get ready. They're going to be some of the wealthiest people in the world, and the people who didn't are going to be the ones stuck on Fed now and dealing with CBDCs and fighting, the ability to not save your money. Or because here's the thing, like, what this introduces at some point is going to be negative interest rates. Like, it's coming, like it's already in certain countries. I think Germany, has had negative interest rates at times, but like, you're going to have it to where if you're holding this programmable CBDC money in your bank account, if it's there, it's losing value. They want you to spend it. They don't want you to save it. They don't want you to invest it. And so that's why, start learning today is what I would say. Not saying just go ape into random projects and think they're going to moon, but actually looking at what, the things that are building. And that's still my hope for Algorand, is that not that it gets used for a CBDC, but that a lot of companies rely on its technology and the great things that people like John Allen Woods, Gary Maloof are building.
Shout out to John and Gary.
Yeah, that those things are going to be needed, and side chains, co-chains, whatever you want to call it, are going to be built for private companies and things like that.
Well, looking at Hesba Pay, right? It's a good example. That's the Afghan payment processor. It's kind of like a Cash App type thing for them. But what that means is every single wallet and account that get created, at least on the back end, needs some type of algos. And then when we scale up that, 1 million businesses are doing something similar throughout the globe, then that lets everyone, at least on the business professional side, have to hold them. And then you get the speculators who then would want to buy them. So that's kind of what I'm seeing. But looking at apps like FedNow, Cash App, all of that, we got used to Cash App. We love those apps. And Venmo, I use Venmo. But would I also use a blockchain version? I use Venmo all the time. Yeah. So a blockchain version where we'll be comfortable with that, but the user won't really care anyway. They're going to be doing the same thing they've been doing, but we're going to, call it the digital dollar or whatever they want to call it. And then that's how you run up the prices. Because I do see this, the government, especially U.S. government, there's very few entities that are actually government entities. So they need, what's it called, NGOs, non-government organizations to partner with. And that's where I think these businesses that are utilizing digital ledger technology will come into play. And hopefully that's Algorand is one of those players.
Yeah. Let's talk about this. It's in the show here with some bullish talk. So obviously we have, I think I don't remember who put it out, but like there's like a 90% chance that a spot Bitcoin ETF is going to get approved within the next 6 months. Obviously that's a window. I would say I think it's probably, I would say higher than 50% chance we get it by January 1st. And I think almost 90% to 100% by March, the deadline. I think it's like March 20th, right around my birthday, March 23rd, March 24th, right around there. Or I think it's March 15th actually, but I think for sure we're going to get it by then. So, what cryptos are you watching, eyeing, for this upcoming bull rally? And, what are your thoughts also with, just what could happen with that ETF getting approved and the halving?
Yeah, I was about to say the halving. That I think the timing is the halving. So around, like you said, March to May-ish, June, I think it's going to happen. Definitely, I think it's going to get approved. There's no reason for it not to get improved now that CZ is gone.
Yeah.
So Larry Fink, take the charge.
The red
right?
carpet is there.
Yeah. So what I think is, I think honestly the whole market is going to moon.
Yeah.
Right. I think the top
Do you think we're going to
25 will
see?
change.
Do you think we're going to see the levels of mooning like right now? I think we're like, what's the total? Let me go pull it up real quick. Yeah, total market cap of everything is like 1 point.
I think it's 1.4 trillion.
1.39 trillion. So, and the height of that was,
I think it did to 3 trillion.
3 trillion. Yeah. Right under 3 trillion, like 2.9. So,
and Apple at the height was 3 trillion.
Yeah. So what are you expecting with this spot Bitcoin ETF to get approved? And obviously the halving and altcoins, Ethereum and everything probably got, taking advantage of that bull market as well and bringing in liquidity. What are you expecting to see as far as a total market cap for the entire space at the height of the next bull market?
The height?
Yeah.
To be honest, my real 3 to 5 trillion.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because 3 trillion again is, reaching the previous heights. We got to go pay attention to what Michael Saylor is doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever looked at the MicroStrategy stock?
No.
It looked like a Bitcoin chart now.
Yeah.
It's insane. You know what I mean? So seeing that chart going up 700% at the height when he was doing this thing, everything retraced. And then again, CZ gone. I just see that the market will be in what year, 16, 17 for crypto as a whole. It is slowly becoming that new thing. But I see 3 to 5 trillion easily. Why? Is because the Fed has stopped doing essentially rake hikes.
Yeah.
Hikes. So 4 to 6 months of those, based on data, shows they start to go down. And then once that goes down, the tech goes up based on quantitative easing. So just kind of adding all that in, that's why May, June, that area of time is when they should start lowering the rates, which means everybody's going to be speculating more. Everybody wants to 10x, and that's going to be all of stocks, crypto. Apple, I think, will have to be at 4 trillion for the overall crypto market to be another competitor. So I see it all going to the moon.
Yeah, I'm actually a little bit more, and I don't know, like maybe it's a little more drawn out. I would say like conservatively, 3 to 5 trillion is easy. Like, and honestly, I think a lot of that will just be Bitcoin. That's why I'm saying, like I think Bitcoin is going to take
Bitcoin 4x. That's already 2 trillion.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be center stage, and I think you're going to see it run first, right? And then once the quantitative easing and all that happens, that's when I think you'll see a lot of profits from Bitcoin then roll into Ethereum, and then the alt season will actually run. So it might actually be a little bit later, but I would not be surprised to see the top almost hit 10 trillion. Like, I know that sounds wild, but I'm just saying, when you look at all of the money that could come in from the likes of all these asset managers, and people start, speculating, getting 401k drips into Bitcoin and into crypto assets. Like I saw one of the ones that we're bullish on is Render. That one is on Grayscale's, thing, and they're looking at that one. They're looking at Filecoin. They're looking at, obviously other things like Quant and ETH and things like that. But it's just like, it's coming, right? Like, it's like we see the wave, and a lot of people are just chilling at the beach. They got, their sunshades on, they're blocking everything out. They're listening to music. They're going to concerts. They're watching football games. They don't care about nothing that's coming, but there is a tsunami wave of money that's going to come into this space. And the thing is, don't try to time it, right? Don't get caught trying to catch the run. Just get in now and start DCAing into solid things, not financial advice, but that's what I'm doing, right? I'm not recommending anyone to do that.
No, we not. Let me try to pull up one more thing. You can continue for 1 second.
Yeah,
I didn't get the chance to make a short on this yet, but let me see if I can pull this up.
Yeah, no worries. But no, that's kind of where I'm at, and it's going to be an exciting next 6 to 12 months of crypto. Like I said, I'm still knock on wood praying that we don't get what we got last Thanksgiving or in 2021, which is a longer bear
Oh,
market. Like I
yeah,
don't
we
want to
don't want
see
that.
Bitcoin slide and everything just start to slide and down to the right, until the halving or something like that. Or some black swan pull a lot of the liquidity out, like BNB going down and crashing, collapsing, or anything like that. But I'm definitely bullish as long as the players that be stay alive. The Binance, the Coinbase, all
Yeah,
these infrastructure things that are needed, keep chugging along, keep building. I'm even hopeful that Solana stays up, right? I mean, I know a lot of Algorand people
yeah, we want
would
it.
would probably enjoy watching it go down and offline just so they can tout that we've not. But at the end of the day, it's like that could be another black swan if it crashes and goes offline, and then we're back into a bear market almost. So
To keep it real, we need Solana to win because at the end of the day, all of crypto needs to win for the crypto that's your favorite or whoever's favorite crypto to win, in
yeah.
my opinion.
And it shows that if
Because
Solana could do something like flipping ETH, right? Because it's pretty
oh
close, and
yeah,
it's
yeah,
obviously it has the hype, it has the VCs, it has the somewhat good tech. I would say definitely not as good as Algorand, but it just shows, hey, if Solana can do it, who else can then come up and be
yeah.
used and grab that attention, right? So that's super bullish to me.
So let me see if I can pull this thing up now. Oh shoot, hold up. Yeah, because where'd it go? Where'd it go? So you might have to talk. Continue. I lost it. No,
Right?
because it's just the clip I wanted to find
What's
here.
what's
Oh,
it
maybe
what's it pertaining to?
it's just the Bitcoin like having. I think the one I text you.
Mm,
Oh, here. Let's see. Yeah, because I feel like it's important if I can grab it. I'll try
yeah.
it one more time.
Yeah, the Bitcoin halving is going to be an interesting thing because I know,
Yeah,
JT often talked about how it wasn't really the Bitcoin halving that caused the price to go up. It was the M2 money supply, right? So the government just
yeah,
printing and printing and printing. And so it'll be interesting if that does line up yet again next year, because right now the Fed has paused rate hikes, right? Are they going to start cutting rate hikes come next year during the Bitcoin halving and doing
I
QE
think so.
again? And then everybody's going to say, "Oh, look, the Bitcoin halving is happening again." So this is the effect. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
a
this is what. Yeah, so if y'all could see this, is not the best one, but if you look at 2011 to 13, you can see the red is where it's the bear market, right? And then you go to yellow is accumulation, then bull run. Each of these, if we pull them out into one long chart, it's been consistent. So
hmm
right now we're in the point of almost towards the end of accumulation. That could take another, 3 months or so. And you see the red one here, 22 to 25. We've been in a bear market since 22, technically since like May or something of 2022. So
yeah.
we're a year and a half in
Really November, I would say
accumulation.
of 2021, but that's
Yes, excuse me,
up
you're
for
right.
debate.
November of 2021. So 2 years.
Yeah.
And now we're in this point where it's going sideways. Some cryptos like Solana are now starting to moon again. And then that gives us the sign. All these new rando cryptos are taking off. We almost to the bull run based
Yeah.
on historical data. That's what I was looking for. And I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I'm
It's definitely
impressed.
going to
Because I
be
yeah,
it's definitely going to be an interesting time watching being in it from a full, like, cuz like I said, I was not in the market from a full perspective last
no,
time. I came in at the start of the bull run, kind of a little bit
same.
before, but it'll be interesting to see my emotions and trying to control everything this time around with knowing what I know.
Getting all
And
jittery.
I mean, let's be honest. That's why, I'm thinking about, like, seeing it even recently, right? Seeing some cryptos double, right? Taking profits and then seeing them run higher. It's like, okay, I'm going to
Yep.
have to, really watch how I, trade and how I would say this, always having a moon bag left just to help curb some of that FOMO if price continues to rise. So having a good exit strategy is my goal going into this next bull run.
Yeah, same here. Because I'm guilty of taking profit too early, and
Mm,
I don't want, like you say, I don't want that feeling.
yeah.
So, got to be strategic.
I mean, even
Yes, I'm
John
in it for
Woods,
the
right,
tech.
saying that he was buying ETH and betting ETH when it
Yeah,
was $6, right? And now look at it, like he said, if I had just kept my ETH, I wouldn't be working for Algorand. He wouldn't have been doing Cardano, Algorand, nothing. He'd be on a
no,
beach somewhere sipping pina coladas. And that's the thing. It's like
100%.
it could be Solana, it could be Algorand. Any of those could be the ones like, man, why did I sell? Or the tweets you see all the
Okay,
times, like, selling
question.
Bitcoin for $6 or $20, and now it's where it's at.
How many cryptos is too much in your bag? 15, 20?
See, here's what I would say. I would say however many you can actually keep track of from a fundamental level and a charting, like, and actually have a plan for. Like, if you got 30 cryptos in your bag and you can't watch all of them and see when they're
Mhm.
running and when they're not, and actually seeing the updates come and following them, it's too many. I would say
Yep.
5 to 10, but honestly closer to
Yep.
5. Like, just actually, spend a month, right? Spend a couple weeks doing some research on these protocols, what they're building, what scope they're in, what niche they're in, whether it's gaming, NFTs, DeFi, whatever it is.
Mhm.
Have some in each oracles, right? Chainlinks, the Agora. We just bought some Pyth on Solana. That's already up double,
Height.
literally, since we bought it like yesterday. It's like, there is a lot of things out here, so you gotta really have a small diverse bag. I think have one or two things, in a few categories, and
Yep.
with that you can build the most conviction for. And then, if you're good at charting, chart a plan on taking profits, where you're going to, like, literally the dollar amount that you're going to take profits. And when it hits that, don't question yourself, take your profits, and you have a plan for success right there. That's my advice.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree too. Is less is more. I'm
Mm,
more definitely of that 5 or 6 cryptos. Um, Me personally, still I concentrate a lot in Bitcoin or Ethereum
yeah.
because what I did learn from the last bull market is if you're in too many speculative assets, they drop so much faster, right?
Yeah.
So I was looking at the charts yesterday, when we had the pullback. Bitcoin was down 1.5%, ETH was
2,
2%,
4. Yeah.
Algorand was like 7, right? And then as further you go down, you got the 10, 15, and 20% drops.
Yeah.
So what I found is that what worked best for me was that to have half the bag in something stable, and then you got the other half into, as we said, the other 5 or 6 that you're really into, but knowing that they could rip up or down really fast. So
Yep.
then it goes back to a crypto for change saying, know when you're going to sell, and when you want to put some money back into your pocket, if
Yep.
that's your plan.
For sure.
Some people do honestly
Yeah.
like to surf.
I mean, hey, we did some surfing last bull run. I remember
Yes.
Opulus, Yieldly. I mean, just in
Oh,
Algorand's early days, like, it was so
yeah.
much fun. Everybody was just high
I
fiving. We're
surfed.
we're going to the
Mhm.
moon, and then bear market taught us real quick. So you learn a lot one cycle through, and so hopefully we've taken what we've learned, and we're going to come
Yeah.
out a lot better on the other end.
Definitely. So with that being said, let's close out. Any last words for the audience?
Hey, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Obviously, if you're watching this as it's premiering on Thanksgiving, thanks for doing so. You guys mean
Yes.
everything to us. And we have some fun things that we're going to be drumming up, I think, for the start of the new year. We're trying to get some other content creators involved as well. So
Mhm.
make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment, and we will see you guys next week with Lofty AI CEO Jerry Chu, who will be talking all about what Lofty AI is doing, real world assets on
Yep.
Algorand, tokenized real estate for as low as $50. So excited for that
Excellent.
one.
Yes. Happy holidays, y'all. Happy Thanksgiving. And then we'll see you next week with Lofty. Peace.
See you.